Hello, Bibliophiles. This is Shraddha, and today I'm here with someone very, very, very special, and we have already met her. Please welcome Nicole Adrianne.
Hi.
She's one of my favorite dystopian authors, so it's like an honor to have you today as we discuss dystopia. Thank you so very much for being here. I cannot wait to get started.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to come here and talk about dystopian fiction too. That is my favorite genre in the world. I don't think it gets enough love, so I'm really happy to talk about it.
Okay, so we'll start with, what exactly is dystopia?
Yeah. So one way to describe it is that it's the opposite of utopian fiction. So we have like the word utopia, it means like a future society where everything is perfect. A dystopia is the opposite of that. It's a future society where everything has gone wrong.
I actually did not know that. I'm like sci-fi.
No.
No, seriously, I did not know that. I'm like,
Well, good.
Yeah, what I knew is that dystopia is really dark, everything's crumbling, we need a revolution. But
yeah,
that was interesting.
Good, I'm glad you think so. Yeah, and this whole like dark dystopia, it comes in a few different forms, but a lot of times it's either like environmental destruction is happening and the earth is crumbling for some reason. There's usually like a really controlling government that causes people to lose their individuality and places them in like certain categories.
Yeah.
Then there's the need for survival. There's usually many elements of danger, usually linked to that government as well. And then there's often control by advanced technology. And that's kind of where the science fiction elements of dystopia come in.
Right. Like long time back when I first read dystopia, there was, division of society into classes. It kind of reminded me of France prior to the revolution, when there were, first class. Yeah, is it only me? Like, I kind of link stuff with history, but I think somebody must have drew inspiration from there.
I think that makes total sense. And there's been so many revolutions in so many different places throughout history. I think it's just human nature. But I take a lot of inspiration from history myself when I write my stories. So it's definitely not just you.
One thing that I personally want to know is that, everybody, me included, I first got into fantasy, and most of the people that I know are readers are much more interested in fantasy. And why did you choose to write in dystopia?
Fantasy does have a lot of elements that appeal to me. But dystopian for me is like a form of literature that really explores like the nature of humanity and our relationships with each other, with the physical world around us, and with, our governments, the way we rule over each other. It's hard to explore that in any other genre. But I think dystopian, it offers an opportunity to give people hope in a way that I just can't seem to convey in any other genre.
Right. That actually does sound right. Right. One more thing, like excluding your books, if you had to live in a dystopian book, which one would it be? This one just
that's a hard one. Okay, if I had to live in one, I don't know. I don't know if I want to live in any. I would say probably Divergent or The Host would probably be the most livable. Yeah, I feel like I'm least likely to die in Divergent because I would just be an erudite. And I could just like go sit in a library all day, which is basically what I do anyway. So I'd probably survive.
Sounds smart. Okay, one question again. Like recently dystopia has something like, okay, not just dystopia, every genre has something that people love and something that people have stopped liking and are not liking very much as of now. So when it comes to dystopia, what are the trends that are going on?
I am so glad you asked because since the 2010s, when dystopia got really popular with The Hunger Games, Divergent, The Maze Runner, the genre has actually changed quite a lot, and reader expectations have changed too. So, what's trending up? Like you mentioned, people are loving fantasy. So, dystopian fantasy crossover is getting more popular. One of probably the most prominent examples of that is the Red Queen series, which personally wasn't my favorite. I actually DNF'd it during book 2. Yeah, but the concept was great. I just didn't enjoy the execution. And I'll get back to that later because that relates to some of the stuff that's trending down in the genre. But we definitely have this dystopian fantasy crossover. Of course, advanced technology, sci-fi concepts, AI, robots, stuff like that, believe it or not, is trending up. Just a more advanced version of it than we're used to. So not like, tin and cardboard kind of robots that you would see like in 1950s Doctor Who. But like, for example, Neil Shusterman's Arc of a Scythe series, one of the main characters is actually an artificial intelligence who functions as the core government for the entire world.
Right.
So that's a really good example of technology trending up.
That's cool. When I said robots, I kind of imagined, have you heard of Sophia, the speaking robot?
Yeah, I have. Is that the one?
Yeah,
is that the one like from Japan or something?
I don't remember now, but it came up a few years back.
Yeah.
She sounded cool. It kind of made me believe that maybe dystopia was happening. Really?
I feel that way almost every time I see the news, which I think is another reason why I'm so drawn to the genre.
Aliens are not trending, are they?
No, I personally wish they were. If it were up to me, just writing whatever I want, I would be all over aliens in space. It would be like dystopian Star Wars kind of stuff. But I'm also here to make money. So I'm writing more straight dystopian fantasy crossover. Aliens are definitely not trending up. I'm going to do what I can to change that. We'll see.
I don't know, I guess a year ago or something, I read this book called Sapient Salvation. And it was about an alien overlord. It's kind of dystopian. It's kind of nice. You should check it out.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it has an alien overlord. There are wars happening. Even though romance is the main plot, but I kind of like that book. You should check it out. It's nice.
I will. Yeah, it sounds very Star Wars, and I'm a big fan of that universe.
I have not watched Star Wars. When it comes to me, I'm the most unupdated person to exist on this planet.
Okay. I won't. Okay. Next time we have an interview, the topic is going to be 30 minutes of me convincing you that Star Wars is actually dystopian. I've had big debates on this with a lot of people.
It's done.
Yes, I come well prepared.
No, I'm so unupdated. I hardly watch movies. I prefer reading stuff. And ergo, I haven't watched Star Wars. I haven't watched any of the cool stuff.
Of course, and you're so busy with your classes too. Real life tends to get in the way of our fantasy worlds.
Exactly. Okay, now that we have talked about things that people are liking, some things are, people are not loving them so much now. So should we discuss those too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just to recap,
please.
Yeah, cheesy love triangles are down.
Oh my gosh.
That is dying. But the thing is, it doesn't mean that all love triangles are dying. It's just readers' perceptions of what is or isn't an acceptable love triangle are changing. So, for example, something we've talked about is a love triangle where the heroine is in love with both guys at the same time is different from her going back and forth because she believes she doesn't have a chance with one of them for some reason. And also, it depends on how many times they go back and forth, because you can only do that once, maybe twice if you have a really good reason. But like we've talked about in the selection, sometimes it can just go around and around and around, and it gets really tiring after several books of the same triangle.
I have read 10 chapters, so I probably am not the right person to talk
I
about
mean,
collection.
yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people. So that tells you something right there.
But I seriously, like, you are the first person who just said that love triangles are kind of going down, because I think that stuff, but people don't agree with me, so I don't put it out. So
Yeah, from what I've heard from readers, because
yeah.
not only do I write in this industry, but my day job is in this industry too. My day job is helping other authors make money. So I am living in the author industry day in, day out. That's like where my mind is a lot of the time. And readers complain about badly done love triangles so much. And authors still keep writing them the same way. And I'm like, why are you doing this? The readers don't want to read this
And
anymore.
that's why I thought that people probably don't like, don't hate love triangles. It's just
Mhm.
me, but it's good to know that it's not
It's a
me.
lot of people. Yeah, it's not just you. It's definitely going down.
What other things are
Yeah. So, we have dead, deadbeat, or useless parents. Parents that are just not in the story for like reasons, parents that are really neglectful. Readers are actually enjoying stories that show more of a family unit, showing
Mhm.
parents that play a more central role in the protagonist's lives. Maybe not even parents, but siblings, grandparents, extended family. We're starting to see that trending up. Also, series. Okay, so your traditional dystopian series is all about like living under this dystopian government, and then what's leading up to the rebellion, and then you have the rebellion and the big fight, and then it's over, and that's it. People are kind of getting bored of that because it's formulaic. It's like you can see exactly where the plot's going, you know what's going to happen, and then it ends. So
Oh
it's
my God.
predictable.
You just hit the
Yeah.
note. Exactly. It's
There
like
you go. Yeah. So something that's trending up is when series either continue or even start after the fall of the dystopian government, and they show the issues of rebuilding a society, and how that works, because there's a lot of detail and intrigue that goes into that too. Um, so that's definitely trending up.
one thing that,
Um,
yeah, one thing that I think is something that I personally don't like is that negative family. Sometimes
yeah,
yeah, I kind of sort of like, I have a wonderful family, and I'm always like, the family should be positive. So most of the
yeah,
time, the family is not so cool, and I am not a
hmm,
fan of it anymore. In the beginning, it was like, yeah, it actually intrigued, but now it kind of is not working out. So is it just me?
yeah.
Is it you too?
No, I think a lot of readers are feeling that way. And I think that can have to do with what age you are when you're reading the book, too. Because if you're 14 and you're reading a book and the character's like, oh, my parents are stupid, they're never around, they don't understand anything, you're going to be there at 14 and be like, yeah, you get it, you get it. But then you read it again at 20 and you're like, this is horrible. So it might just depend on your age and your circumstance in life too.
Yeah,
Of course, it depends on your own relationship with your actual family, because that can vary from person to person too. Um, but
yeah,
it's nice when authors portray family in a more realistic way that's not perfectly positive or perfectly negative, because it's rarely one or the other.
neutral.
Yeah.
What other things? I don't know. Like, again, the plot is getting a little repetitive. That I think,
Yeah,
as you mentioned, is like a red flag for me.
for
But whatever.
sure. Yeah,
But
and some of that has to do too when the romance is the main plot instead of like a subplot. That can make it kind of predictable too. Or also if the main character is, again, predictable, if they're flat, if everything goes really well for them without them even trying.
one,
Um,
yeah.
uh-huh.
No, you were saying something.
Yeah, I think two good examples of heroines where things were too easy for them is Triss from Divergent. She didn't really have a very strong personality. I think most of us will agree that her personality isn't super dynamic. But this super hot guy is still in love with her, and she's the one to rebel and do all this crazy stuff, and everybody's following her. And I'm just like, if I was in that book, there's no way I'd be following this girl. Like, she doesn't even have a personality. And then the same thing happened to me with Mare Barrow in the Red Queen series. I thought her personality was actually very abrasive and unlikable. She was constantly like mean to everybody and just waffling back and forth between, oh, you're not really my friend, how can I trust you? And then like, oh, I'm in love with you, like every other chapter. And everything just worked for her, even though she wasn't a very nice person. And I had a hard time with that. I don't want to read, I don't want to spend hours and hours with a character that I don't like.
Exactly. And one more
Yeah.
thing that I personally think, sometimes in books in general, not just Dystopia,
Yeah.
the female protagonist is always proved to be correct. I
Yeah.
have come across those books, and it's kind of annoying. I mean, I get it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of stereotypical. It's not like they're the only logical human beings alive on the planet. So,
Agreed.
and they're just so perfect. It's so hard to believe.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really annoying.
exactly. And oh man, I even watch these daily, like, I don't know, but if you ever watch some Asian daily soap, the ones that
Uh-huh.
I have watched, oh yeah, I mean I haven't watched a lot because
Mm-hmm.
as I said, I prefer reading over watching.
Yeah.
So that this is something that I find there as well, that the female protagonist is always right. And
Yeah.
just not just so well with me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it just happens.
Agreed. We authors actually have a term for that. It's called Mary Sue.
Oh yeah.
And we'll say, okay, this character is a Mary Sue. She's just perfect in every way and nothing goes wrong for her. No one wants to read that. That's boring. And it's so much more fun, both as an author and a reader, when you get to play with people's expectations, make your character and, you know, therefore your reader think one thing, and
Mhm.
then have them find out that they were completely wrong, that their assumptions, their bias, their instincts for some reason were off. And to explore that, like psychologically, that's so much more interesting to me.
I so agree with that. Again, it's not a dystopian book, but since we talked about it, there's this book called Regretting You. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, of course, it's Colleen Hoover, right?
Have you read it?
No, but I know of it.
Oh, it's a great book. It's like it's about a mother-daughter relationship, mostly about mother-daughter relationship, and you should read it. I won't tell you the plot. I
Okay.
cannot think of a way where I can explain the plot
Yeah.
without spoilers. It's a great book.
Okay.
It's like
Mhm.
one thing that I love is this, there's no Mary Sue, so it's a
I
brilliant
do
book.
love that. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Thanks.
Now that I guess those are the only things that people are not liking very much, or are there more?
Yeah. No, I think that about covers it. Yeah, we have the cheesy love triangles, taking down the government, and then the series ends. No rebuilding. We have useless, absent, or dead parents, Mary Sue's, and too much focus on romance without enough plot. So those are the main things that are trending down.
I totally agree with all of them. Now that we're done with what people are liking, what people are not liking, maybe we should
Mhm.
talk about some book recommendations as well.
Sounds good.
I'll go first. I obviously all of your books because you like a lot, right, Sophia? I have only read one Station Alpha series. I
Mhm.
wanted to read more, but exam stuff.
I
I'll probably
totally
read
get
it
it.
now. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm forgetting stuff of the books now, and it's so annoying. Like I think I've put so much information, like scientific information. I'm forgetting
Yeah.
my favorite stuff.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
It does. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. I think I'm the only stupid
Yeah.
person on the planet who keeps
No.
on forgetting stuff.
It's not stupid, it's just how your brain prioritizes
Yeah,
stuff. My brain can remember everything about story structure, dystopian genre, teaching authors, and then like my mom will ask me to do something 10 minutes later, I'll have no idea what she said. It's terrible.
Romance happened with me as well. Like she asked me, I
Yeah.
don't do something, and I'm doing the exact opposite. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And she'll be like, "But you said yes when I asked you to do this." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, you got my answering machine." I was there, but I wasn't there.
Sometimes I'm just lost in my head, so not really your
Yeah.
fault.
Well, yeah, that writers and readers, we have that in common, don't we?
What else? What's your favorite book in Dystopia?
Okay, I mean, super cliche, but the first one that comes to mind is The Hunger Games. You really don't do much better than that. It's like the perfect book series, in my opinion. I love everything about it. But my non cliche answer is Neil Shusterman's Arc of the Scythe series. That is probably my favorite book trilogy ever in the world. It is so incredibly well done. It takes some of the deeper themes of the Hunger Games and just puts it in a totally new environment, new world, adds a lot of advanced technology, but in a way that's not dry and boring and scientific. And of course, the love relationship is really interesting to read about, more interesting than the Hunger Games love triangle, in my opinion. So I highly recommend the Scythe trilogy.
I haven't read it. I'll have to read it.
It's so good. You will love it. You won't be able to put it down.
What else do we have? Shatter Me series. I have heard so many good stuff about it.
Me too. It's still on my TBR, but I've read like
Nice.
excerpts. I've read excerpts of it, but I
Yeah,
haven't actually read all of it.
people are
Um,
crazy about it on Instagram, so you just can't help it.
yeah,
You
and I've
find
seen a lot of things about how the writing style is a little bit offbeat and poetic and literary,
right.
and a lot of people aren't into that, but I'm very into that. So that
Me
sounds really
too.
appealing to me. Yeah.
Love that stuff. What else do we have? I can't. Divergent, but we talked about it, I guess.
Yeah, Divergent is definitely up there. Like if you're a dystopian fan, you have to read it.
Mm.
The Host is another really good one.
I have watched the movie, so I can't say much about the book.
The movie's good, the book is better. I can't say that about every book and movie, like The Maze Runner. I will unabashedly say the movies were better than the books. But with The Host, it's the opposite. I think the movie was just a fraction of the experience that the book gives you, like emotionally.
What else do we have? I don't know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
can you think of some more books?
Yeah, I
I
mean, I think that covers it for like traditionally published books. For indie, we have on my radar, I have The Princess Trials and Forged in the Fallout. I haven't read them yet, but they are very high on my TBR because the concepts look awesome. Um, and you know, my books, I have to recommend them because that's literally my one job.
oh, really,
But
they're
that's about it.
everybody watching. You gotta read those. They're mind blowing, and I have a video on them as well. So
Here's some
you
of
should.
them. Here's some of my book babies. We have Station Alpha.
No, I swear, if we ever meet in person, I'm getting them signed, and the first book I'm getting signed is Girl in the Snow.
Absolutely. We have to. I mean, that's how we met. So it has to happen.
We have to get it signed.
For sure.
I really like the concept of Princess Diary. I was about to say Princess Diaries, Princess Trials, right? Princess Trials.
Yeah, Princess Trials is by Cordelia Castell. And
Right.
it's, yeah, like a blend of The Selection and The Hunger Games. So they're fighting to marry a prince, but like fighting. Not like in The Selection.
Oh, their book is like a fantasy crossover. It's light selection, but you don't have a
Mhm.
love triangle. It's called The
Yeah,
Vampire by Lee Walker.
that's
It's
right.
amazing. And then I guess there's the trade by Lee Walker as well. It's basically 3,000 years into the future, and
Wow.
vampires are killing. Nice
Hmm.
book. You should check it out. Yeah, these are the seriously, these are the only good books I can think of. and then you have like so many amazing books. You know, I really cannot think of any more books now. Can you think of any more books that are worth reading? Like, not worth reading, but
Yeah.
you recommend?
I am absolutely sure they're out there, but I'm still working on discovering them. So that's my top list for now, but we'll have to regroup in a few years and I'm sure I'll have more.
Totally. I think I'll read more by then. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one more, The Giver. Like, I should not
Yeah.
forget.
Total classic.
It's amazing. The first time I read it, I was like, this is so bleak because, there's no color. I suppose I think say that there are no colors. My sister is a huge fan. Like, she read the whole thing. Have you read the whole series or just the first book?
No, just the first book.
Me too. My sister has read the whole thing. I guess there's the mother story and more stuff. I don't know. I mean, I haven't.
I'll have to check that out because that one's not even just dystopian, but it's like a literary classic. So it's kind of that older, more flowery style of writing. A lot of people find that hard to read. I really like that kind of style, so I really should get back and read that whole series.
If you love that sort of style, you should check out We Were Liars if you haven't already read it.
Ooh, it's on my TBR. I didn't know that had that kind of style.
No, it's like a worse sort of a writing. I'm not really sure how what should I call it, but it's beautiful and it has the biggest plot twist in history of plot twists.
Amazing.
Like I cried like a crazy woman. Seriously, I went insane. Just amazing. Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming here today. I seriously cannot thank you enough. It was so much fun meeting you again. And I hope the next time we meet is in person. Like, we have a book to sign, of course.
I look forward to that so much.
Yes. Yeah, everybody, this was it. Anything you want to ask, please drop it down in the comments. And I know it's been so long since we last met, but I'll hopefully be more regular now. Nicole, anything you want to say to your readers, to your viewership?
Thank you so much if you have checked out any of my books, and thank you for listening to Shraddha's channel. We both appreciate it and hope that you like the stuff we continue to put out.
Aw, that's so sweet. Bye, everybody. This was it.